Just live.
Yeah.
Live like that. That's why I like the documenting process. I love the creation process too, because when we go through visualizing, it's fun, like being strategic. But the docking process is just like, it's a different form of creation because it creates itself. Like you do nothing but whatever you do, and the pieces that you get from that, it's like you can't beat that shit. Because I know I'm gonna have to wake up and be me the rest of my life. So it's like figuring that shit out. It changed everything.
That's one of the coolest things too, though. You're waking up and being you. You know, I feel like so many people put on a face to try and be somebody else. They're afraid to be themselves, right? I think to a degree a lot of times. But if you have the courage to stand and say, "This is me," dude, that's when people make moves. That's when people inspire. Right. They do things that are remembered. You know,
right?
It's cool,
and that's a process. Getting to that point,
it's tough.
A process, right?
Yeah. You're scared. You got to be vulnerable, man. You got to be open to it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Creatively too, you're saying with all the filming, how important is content now, especially now? You know, we kind of talked about it before we started the podcast, right? With just creating in general, but
man,
with content, how much has that become a part of everything that you do?
I think content is as important as it's always been in our lives. You grew up wanting to be an actor because you seen a piece of content. Like that, it's always had that significance, but it didn't have the word attached to it. So it's like, man, it's always been important and vital. Like we thrive on great art. Like we need things to move us, and that's all content is. How am I going to move you today? That's all it is. It's nothing deeper, and it's always existed throughout our journey. I seen Kanye making a vid that was content, and it was like, oh, that changed my life. It's still the same thing today. That never changed.
Yeah.
Do you think there's like a new kind of resurgence with like video and music kind of combined? Like back in the day, there was like music videos and MTV, right? And now it's like social media and music. Yep. Do you think that's like kind of this new renaissance with that? Like,
yeah, I feel like it's just transcended into a new form. Like now, man, when you come across the timeline and you find something very aesthetically pleasing and the sound is right, it gets you. And that's always been the thing. One of my favorite songs is Call Me. Call me anytime, call me. Because the fucking Bride of Chucky. I used to always watch that movie when I was younger, and that song was in it. I don't know that song from anything else, but that content, that marriage of the visual and the sound, it did it. And that shit, that's how it works today. It's like, bro, those are the things that you want to make. Like when we shoot some shit that's fire, we all huddled up like, oh shit, because you get that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a good point. Yeah. It's such a strong.
It's a strong feeling.
Yeah.
And that like, and it's got to be executed right for it to stick. Like you hear songs and a lot of shit throughout your journey, but only certain ones stick to you, man, bruh. And the it's the art with it. Yeah. I remember I was watching. It was like an HBO special on Floyd Mayweather. He was about to have a fight, and they had this song by an artist named Rory in it. It's called Devil's Prayer. One of my favorite fucking songs because it just like they encompass the feeling, the image, everything, and it's stuck.
Yeah. And it's funny too because I played around with that a lot on different sets with friends, just filming stuff, whatever it may be, even scoring in movies. The music that you attach to it changes everything.
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 You could put some funny ass music on some shit and it changes the entire tone of the clip versus something that's like deep and intimate. Bro. Like it sets the mood. Yeah. It really changes everything.
I used to have movies without sound. This is insane.
Yeah, beforehand. Right?
Yeah, that's kind of wild. Like, that's kind of wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I did. I was just thinking this time, man. We were on set in it was in Kentucky or something, filming something. It was all Vikings and everything like that. So there was this one scene, this big fire. My buddies got around the fire and we all had swords and stuff like that. And we're like battling, right? Just like, and it was all slow-mo. It was epic, right? And I was just messing around when we got back with the footage and I started putting different songs on it. And like before it was like Metallica and it was all hardcore. It was crazy, right? But then I put My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion, you know, from Titanic. And it was like, it turned into like this romantic dance these guys were doing. And I was like, this is not what we were going for, but it's amazing, you know? Like we were just having fun. Everyone was crying, laughing, you know?
Right. You can really get your message across.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like if you want to paint a narrative or a certain messaging, like having the right visual and the song, and it's always been that way. Our favorite movies is just musicals. It's just visuals that got the right songs to them.
Yeah. And even like you can go even deeper too, to like sound effects or like a villain's voice, right?
Yeah.
And like those things too will like stand out, like Darth Vader's voice, right? Like that, everyone, James Earl Jones, the legend, like that is just so glued to that video and that image, right?
Man, it's so deep. Sound design, like when we used to film. After we filmed the scene, we'd go behind the scene with the boom mic and redo it and kind of capture all the audio, and just adding those elements in after, like, bro, it changes everything. But it's like you're always trying to replicate the world, you know, and in the world, you don't just see things, you see things, you hear things, you feel things, right? And you have to replicate that in your visual. And if one thing's missing that takes away that feeling, like it'd be off.
Throw it all off.
It'd be off.
Yeah. Dude, I remember spending so much time on set, like getting those ambient tracks, like you were saying.
That's just interesting to think about, because I have this quote that I love. It's, we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. I'm thinking about art that you're creating, right? You're showing your perception, you're showing your vision, what you see that maybe nobody else in the world can see, right? But then other people can connect to. You're doing it in your own way, and it's cool.
And that's why it's important for like everybody to have their own form of art. Like you should never be trying to create what someone else is creating, because it's like that steals the essence of everything that's going to be special about your art. You have to make shit that, because all of us see the world completely different. It's like, if you grow up in the hood, you don't see it as the hood until someone comes and they're like, "Oh, you live in the hood," and it's like, "I do," you know, like, but because you only see things from your perspective.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed the video,
and subscribe and hit the bell for a whole lot more to come.